In a quiet suburban neighborhood, nestled between rows of maple trees and well-kept gardens, lived an elderly woman named Margaret. She was a retired librarian, known for her gentle demeanor and love for books. But her greatest joy was her cat, Whiskers, a sleek, gray tabby with piercing green eyes. Margaret had found Whiskers as a stray kitten one rainy evening, shivering and alone under a bush. From that day on they were inseparable. Whiskers was more than just a pet. He was her confidant, her comfort, and her greatest joy. Every evening they would sit by the fireplace, Margaret reading aloud from her favorite novels while Whiskers purred contentedly in her lap. Their bond was unbreakable, a testament to the love that can exist between a human and an animal. But one fateful morning, Margaret passed away unexpectedly in her sleep. Whiskers, who had been curled up beside her, woke to find her unresponsive. He nudged her hand with his nose, meowed softly and then louder, but she didn't stir. The house, once filled with warmth and laughter, was now silent and cold. Whiskers' mournful cries echoed through the empty rooms, a heartbreaking sound that no one could ignore. Neighbors would hear him late at night, his plaintive meows carrying through the stillness. It was as if he was calling out for Margaret, unable to comprehend why she was gone. Part 1. The Mourning Cat. After Margaret's passing, her neighbor Sarah stepped in to care for Whiskers. Sarah had always admired Margaret's kindness and had often stopped by to chat over tea. She couldn't bear the thought of Whiskers being sent to a shelter, so she took him in. But the cat's behavior was strange. He refused to eat no matter what Sarah offered him, fancy canned food, fresh tuna, even his favorite treats. He spent hours staring out the window as if waiting for Margaret to return. At night, he would cry incessantly, his mournful meows keeping Sarah awake. She tried everything to comfort him: new toys, a cozy bed by the fireplace, even calming pheromone diffusers, but nothing worked. One night, Sarah woke to the sound of Whiskers scratching at the front door. She opened it and he darted outside, disappearing into the darkness. Sarah searched for hours, calling his name, but he was nowhere to be found. The next morning she found him sitting on Margaret's porch, his fur damp from the dew, his eyes filled with sorrow. It was clear that Whiskers was grieving deeply, and Sarah didn't know how to help him. She decided to take him to the vet, hoping that a professional could offer some insight. Part 2. The Vet's Discovery. At the vet's office, Dr. Emily Carter, a compassionate and experienced veterinarian, examined Whiskers thoroughly. She ran blood tests, checked his vitals, and even performed an ultrasound but found nothing physically wrong. "He's perfectly healthy," Dr. Carter said, puzzled. "This seems to be emotional distress." She suggested that Whiskers might be mourning Margaret's loss and recommended giving him time to adjust. But as she was about to send them home, she noticed something unusual about Whiskers' collar. It was a simple leather band, but when she looked closer she saw a small, hidden compartment. Inside was a tiny piece of paper with a message written in Margaret's handwriting. It read, "If you're reading this, I'm gone. Please take care of Whiskers, but there's something you need to know." Sarah and Dr. Carter exchanged stunned glances. What could Margaret have meant? The message was cryptic, but it was clear that Whiskers was more than just a cat. There was a mystery here, one that needed to be unraveled. Dr. Carter handed the note to Sarah, who felt a mix of curiosity and unease. She had always known Margaret as a kind, quiet woman, but this note hinted at a hidden side of her life. Determined to uncover the truth, Sarah decided to investigate further. Part 3. The Hidden Truth. The message led Sarah and Dr. Carter to a hidden box in Margaret's house. It was tucked away in the attic, beneath a loose floorboard. Inside they found letters, photographs, and a journal detailing Margaret's life. As they flipped through the pages, they discovered that Margaret had been a spy during the Cold War. She had worked for a covert intelligence agency, using her unassuming appearance as a librarian to gather information. The journal described daring missions, close calls, and the deep bond between Margaret and Whiskers. It turned out that Whiskers had been more than just a pet. Margaret had trained him to carry secret messages, using his collar to transport microfilm and coded notes. The journal recounted how Whiskers had saved her life on multiple occasions, his agility and intelligence proving invaluable. The journal also revealed that Margaret had hidden a final message in a safe deposit box at the local bank. The message, she wrote, contained evidence of a conspiracy that had been buried for decades. "The truth must come to light," Margaret had written, "for the sake of justice and for Whiskers." Sarah and Dr. Carter were stunned. They had stumbled upon a secret that went far beyond their expectations. Determined to honor Margaret's wishes, they decided to retrieve the final message. Part 4. The Final Message. Sarah and Dr. Carter raced to the bank to retrieve the final message. With the help of Margaret's lawyer, they accessed the safe deposit box. Inside was a sealed envelope containing documents, photographs, and a USB drive. The evidence revealed a conspiracy involving high-ranking officials who had betrayed their country for personal gain. Margaret had risked everything to gather this information, knowing that it could cost her life. The documents detailed illegal arms deals, espionage, and cover-ups that spanned decades. It was clear that Margaret had been working tirelessly to expose the truth, even in her final years. With the help of a journalist, Sarah and Dr. Carter exposed the conspiracy. The story made headlines, clearing Margaret's name and bringing justice to those who had wronged her. Whiskers, the unsung hero, finally found peace. He stopped crying as if he knew that Margaret's legacy was secure. Sarah adopted him permanently, and though he still missed Margaret, he began to bond with his new owner. Together, they honored Margaret's memory, ensuring that her bravery and love would never be forgotten. Moral of the story. The moral of the story is that love and loyalty transcend even death. It highlights the importance of cherishing the bonds we share with others, whether human or animal, and the impact those bonds can have on our lives. The story also emphasizes the power of perseverance and the importance of uncovering the truth, no matter how deeply it's buried. It reminds us that even in the face of loss, there is hope, and that the legacy of love and courage can live on through those we leave behind.